Hello and welcome to Everywoman. I'm Shuli Ghosh. On the programme this week...
Don't you wish your MP was real like me?
A campaign message with a difference. We meet Mac Beda, she of the purple headscarf, fighting for women's rights in Malaysia. Fast-tracking her way to her Olympic dream, the young Moroccan girl on her way to Beijing. And the Bardi women of Nepal trapped in the sex trade and demanding a way out. At election rallies in Malaysia last week, several women in purple headscarves were spotted at different places simultaneously, elbowing their way to the front of crowds and questioning candidates on their commitments towards women's rights. The women all introduced themselves as Mac Beda. So, who is Mac Beda? Well, she may be fictitious, but she's become an overnight sensation in the Malaysian election campaign with internet blogs and music videos. Several women represent this intriguing candidate, and we have one of them in our Kuala Lumpur studio. When she's not being Mac Beda, Mira Samunda is a lawyer and member of the Women's Candidacy Initiative. Mira, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Tell us about Mac Beda. Who is she?
Well, Mac Beda is actually Women's Candidacy Initiative's symbolic everyday woman. She's an ordinary voter who's curious to know what their candidates, who their candidates are, what they stand for, and what their manifesto is. And so she goes around shopping to inquire what their concerns, basically what their issues are, and what their stand is on women's issues.
And she's a single mother, isn't she? So what is it that she wants to see?
She certainly is. Well, basically change. She wants, well, she goes around to the candidates inquiring what their stand is and whether her beliefs match with the beliefs of the candidate, and then she will choose appropriately. And what she believes are basically the Women's Candidacy Initiative's manifesto, which is a 10-principle manifesto. One of them is a violent-free society, a democracy that belongs to all. Basically, democracy does not just belong to the politicians, but to every one of us, and that includes women.
Well, she's got quite a following, hasn't she? And I know that you've also released 2 music videos, which can be found on YouTube, to appeal to younger voters. Let's take a quick look at them.
Bring democracy back.
Yeah!
Them politicians don't know how to act.
Yeah!
They'll only stab us all behind our backs.
Yeah!
So turn around and let's pick up the slack.
Yeah! Take to the titty! Don't you wish your MP was brave like me? Don't you wish your MP was fun like me? Don't you?
Mac Beda there campaigning on the 10 points of the manifesto that you were talking about, which actually can be found on the Everywoman website. So what is women's political participation like in Malaysia?
Well, its access is very limited, opportunities are limited. That is why the Women's Candidacy Initiative is also pushing for local council elections. Because, you know, many women do want to get involved, but they are afraid. Their structural barriers are there, cultural barriers are there. So that is another call that Women's Candidacy is pushing, local council elections. And the other issue is also the government had committed to the Beijing Platform for Action and the 9th Malaysia Plan that they are committed to have 30% of women's representation in parliament and in decision making. Unfortunately, last year, the Badawi said, our Prime Minister said 20% is sufficient, so we seem to be regressing.
So do you think Mac Beda can make a difference?
I think we certainly hope she would be able to make a direct impact on the political landscape. But additionally, she is making waves indirectly because she has empowered many women to stand up at the charamas and talk. She's empowered people like me to take on this persona and question the candidates. She's also concerned about issues on accountability and monitoring because she sees so many things happening during elections, but what happens after? Who's going to be accountable to them? Who's going to be monitoring them? She questions that.
Well, I think it's a really innovative campaign, and we will, of course, be following the elections in Malaysia. For the moment, though, Mira, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Morocco has its share of great female athletes. Now, 21-year-old Siham Hilali is fast joining their ranks. Siham is a middle-distance runner who's competed in championships across the world. Now she's set her sights on a medal at this year's Beijing Olympics. But not only does Siham have to contend with a tough training schedule, she's also challenging people's perception of women's place in Moroccan society.
اللي بديت نجري صافي ملي مشيت بالنسبه للنهار الاول ملي مشيت مع جريت مع السكولير وداك الشيء حسيت براسي بان مرتاحه لحقاش انا اصلا عزيز عليا تجري.
Siham Hilali is emerging as one of Morocco's greatest runners. Yet Siham has not only had to prove herself on the running track, but also to society, which in spite of recent reforms, has strong reservations on the woman's role outside the home.
بالنسبه لي قبل 16 عام كنت بحال كنت نعاون ماما في الدار زعما هذيك الساعه المراه مغربيه ماشي بحال دابا. بالنسبه للوالدين تاعي كانوا هما تينتظروني بين ما غنكون قاريه باش
كنت نتمنى غادا تقرا وتوظف ودير الرياضه وتيقولوا لي ما جات بالقلم تجيب القدم.
Leaving behind household chores and family expectations, Siham has one dream: to win the Olympics.
ان شاء الله تسمي مرات العاب اولمبيه كتجيك دابا بشكل غتولدي ورا الحال تجيني بشكل ايوا راه دابا المناصب بعدي المراه المغربيه راه خاصها تكون تخدم وتولد وتربي تضرب تماره وتكبر ولادها كلشي تكوني قايده بها.
There has been a recent debate on women's participation in the Olympics and the restrictions imposed by some countries who are concerned with the female athletes' dress code. Yet Siham doesn't see any contradictions between her running and her religion.
بحال في السعوديه كانوا ما خلاوش البنات يلعبوا مشاو بالنسبه مشات ليكيب ناسيونال مشاو الولاد ما كاينش النساء. كاينين عداءات اللي من الاردن من البحرين اللي جراو معانا وهما بداك الخمار تاعهم بالنسبه لهم هي اول حاجه الجري خاصك اول حاجه تكون خفيف يعني غتكون مسدود من هنايا يعني صعيب باش ربما هذاك الخمار وداك الشيء اللي لابسين ربما ما يخليهمش يبينوا الكفاءات تاعهم اللي عندهم ولكن الدين تيبقى في القلب ماشي في المظهر. لكن بالنسبه لواحد الرياضه هي تقريبا هو العمل تاعو ما يمكنش غيتخلى على العمل تاعو لا تخلى على العمل تاعو ما عندوش باش يعيش ولذلك تيبقى الدين في القلب والعمل بوحده والدين بوحده.
دابا صافي 300 متر في هاد الدوره فهمت غنسيو باش غادي ديريها تحاولي تمشي في ديك 58.
Behind Siham's successes and victories is her trainer Zaz. He discovered her talents at the age of 16.
بالنسبه للقاء تاعي مع الدين كان هو نهار بديت الجرا في السكولير من بعد من ورا لاريفي ما كنتش نعرفو قبل الديبار يعني بين الديبار ولاريفي حنا من ورا لاريفي مباشره في الخط تاع لاريفي تعرض ليا وسلم عليا عنقني من بعد قال لي خاصك تجي تريني وداك الشيء صافي مشيت نتريني.
Zaz has now become something more than a trainer.
في الاول ما كنتش في اللقاء تاعي ما كنتش نقول بالمره راني غدا وبعد غدا غنكون زوجة تاعو ولا غنكون تنبغيه ولا شي حاجه.
نبغي انا مرتي تكون احسن مني ونبغيها تكون افضل امراه في العالم. دفع مزيان دفع.
Siham and Zad's represent a new family model in Morocco, where the husband is ready to sacrifice for their common dreams.
مستوى عالي خصنا نضحيو بالوقت ديالنا في سبيل الرياضه، خصنا نضحيو بالحياه ديالنا، الانجاب باش نولدوا دابا ولا خصني مازال نزيد نضحي معاه، خصوصا انني انا وصلت لواحد الفتره ديال النضج لان خاص يكونوا عندي وليدات سميتو، خاصني نزيد نضحي مازال.
والحاجه مرتبطه كنا مخاصمين في الدار تلحق وقت لونطريمون
واخا نكونوا مخاصمين
صافي تنهضروا، واخا نكونوا زعما ما تنتخاصموش، راك عارف الريال ديال ما كاينش. وملي في لونطريمون ثاني واخا تيكون مشكل ولا شي حاجه صافي يفوت لونطريمون تنسى مع لونطريمون.
Whether or not Siham brings back a medal from the Beijing Olympics, she has already become an example to other young Moroccan women of her generation.
نموذج لكاع البنات بالنسبه للبنات اللي كانوا معايا في الليسي وداكشي تيقولوا بالنسبه سهام مشات دارت الرياضه توفقات فيها، حنا ربما غنديروا حنا شي حاجه واخا تيكونوا والديهم زعما تيعيشوا في حياه لا فامي مغموقه شويه، ولكن ملي شافوني انا بحال هكاك والديهم تما خلاوهم باش تما بيقنوا على الطموحات تاعهم، واخا ماشي الرياضه ولكن مجالات اخرى.
And of course, we wish Siham the best of luck in the Beijing Olympics. Coming up after the break, the Nepalese prostitutes demanding better human rights. Traditionally, women in the Badi community rely on the sex trade to provide an income for their families. Now they want the government to find them other work so they can leave the stigma behind. Stay with us.